All right, let's take a look at your MT6 final affirmation. We'll start here with this parallelogram. And we want to find x first. And notice we know the opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal. So 2x equals 8. So x equals 4. We know the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So we know angle x is 100 degrees. And then we're supposed to find the measure of angle XYW, this angle right here. Well, XYW is an alternate interior angle to angle YWV, so in other words, it's 46 degrees. And that's what you had to do for a question that looks like that. Now, in a rectangle, we're told e to I is 4x plus 5. Let's mark that down. We're told g to I is 6x minus 9. In a rectangle, or in a parallelogram, we know the diagonals bisect each other, so we have 4x plus 5 equals 6x minus 9. Well, let's solve for x. So let's subtract 4x from both sides. At the same time, let's add 9 to both sides. So you get 14 equals 2x, or x equals 7. Well, if x equals 7, 4 times 7 plus 5, well, that's going to be 33. So I know each length, since it's a rectangle, I know all the diagonals are congruent. And we want to find the length from F to I. Well, we can see that F to I is 33. We're told angle E to I to H, let's mark that down, is 118 degrees. Well, since you have a rectangle, we know these are isosceles triangles. So I know the measure of each angle is going to be 180. Not each angle, but angle IEH and angle IHE. It's going to be 180 minus 33 divided by 2. Because we know the base angles of an isosceles triangle are congruent. So let's go ahead and do that on the calculator. So if I take 180 minus 33 and I divide it by 2, I get 73.5 degrees. Try again. I don't know where the 33 came from. That was supposed to be 118. So it's 31 degrees. So I know my base angles are 31 degrees. Now we want to find the measure of angle I to F to G. I want to find this angle right here, don't I? Well, notice this is 31 degrees because these are 31 degrees because they're alternate interior angles. So that makes it angle IFG. Okay, a quadrilateral has 4 sides. So we know this is a quadrilateral, this is a quadrilateral, this is a quadrilateral. A parallelogram, if we look at the first shape, must have two pairs of angles that are supplementary to one angle. We don't have enough information here. Or we know the opposite angles are congruent. We don't have enough information. There's just not enough information here. Now, on the next one, notice both pairs of angles, opposite angles, are congruent. So that makes that a parallelogram. And if you have one pair of sides that are both parallel and congruent, like we do here, that makes it a parallelogram. That's off your formula sheet. And then a rectangle. A rectangle has all four angles equal. So the second one's a rectangle. We need more information for the third shape to say it's a rectangle. We have to know something about the diagonals, like if the diagonals are congruent, or we have to know something about the angles. Now let's take a look at this one. This one looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Surprised I put this on here for you. A to E is 3x plus 5. For some reason it's not writing there. Let's try that again. We know B to E is 6x minus 4. And we know the measure of angle E to A to D is 27 degrees. Since I know it's a rectangle, I know this angle is 27 degrees. Alternate interior angles. I know that angle is 27 degrees, and this angle is 27 degrees. Now, first thing, I know the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent, and I know the diagonals bisect each other. So in other words, 3x plus 5 equals 6x minus 4. Well, if 3x plus 5 equals 6x minus 4, let's solve for x. Let's subtract 3x from both sides. Might as well add 4 to both sides too. So 9 equals 3x divided by 3. X equals 3. I don't want x. I want to find the distance from A to C. Well, I do know A to E is going to be 3 times 3 plus 5, or 14. Well, if A to E is 14, A to C must be 28. Then we want to find the measure of angle E to D to C. Well, I know angle D, A to D to C is 90 degrees. So the measure of angle EDC is going to be 90 minus 27, which will be 53 then, or 33. Try that again, 63. There we go. Okay, a rhombus. We know in a rhombus, the diagonals bisect the vertex angle. So we know angle 2 is 41 degrees. We know alternate interior angles, so we know angle 4 is 41 degrees. We know in a rhombus, or specifically a parallelogram, we know the adjacent angles are supplementary. So if this is 82 degrees, then you take 180 minus 82, that would be 98 degrees. That'll be angle 3 and angle 1. Just have to know your facts about rhombuses, rectangles, and parallelograms. Now we have a parallelogram. Let's start with x. We know the opposite sides are congruent, so we know 2x equals 2. So x equals 1. We know the alternate interior angles are congruent, so we know angle XVY is 45 degrees. we want to find angle y. Well, the measure of angle y, since we know the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent, that's 77 degrees. And then we want to find the measure of angle yxv. Well, we can do this in a couple different ways. I would say the measure of angle yxv, we have a triangle here on the bottom. That'll be 180 minus 77 minus 45. Or just take, 180 minus 77 minus 45, I think is the simplest way to do that. So take 180 minus 77 minus 45. That'll be 58 degrees. And there's your answer for that question. And that's what you did wrong on your test. Hopefully this explanation has helped you to redo it. I will get that redo open for you.